pretty.
All right, let's convene our meeting. Good afternoon, everyone. Call the meeting to order. First of all, I'd like to get a head count of those commissioners who aren't on, have dialed in. Dave Henry.
Hello, everybody.
Any other commissioners calling in? With the members here and Dave, we have a quorum, so we'll move on from there. Let's start with a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Jan included the minutes of the last meeting with the package for us. And does anybody have any changes to make? Any edits? Clarifications? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting?
I move they be approved as stated.
A second? Any further discussion?
Sorry, who's second?
Well, either.
Oh, okay.
Right now.
No further discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Move on from
I
there.
do see one typo.
Oh, okay.
Item 7 under old business, it says T, Mr. Hyman. T isn't necessary.
Okay,
Typo.
okay. I don't think we need,
Well, we can revise the motion to agree with that one typo repair, and then all those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Thank you, Don.
Sorry. My job.
That's good. All right, we now move on to the chairman's report, where the budget process is we're in the midst of it now, and Jan has forwarded to Dave Henry and George Harris and myself the documents that we will fill in for the 2026-2027 budget year. And we'll be doing that between now and the next meeting. And I would like to ask if there's any known additions or subtractions to that budget going forward. If you could either bring it to our attention now or between now and the next meeting so they could be included in that budget change. The harbor management boat service and maintenance over whether we know that that's going to be handled by this commission and not on our budget and not from the town, although the town will be overseeing that, correct?
Yes, my understanding it comes out of us with the town's money. They'll fund it. So I sent an email this morning with some numbers. I went down to Rex and talked to them as to what it costs a bit more the first year because it has to get the bottom prepared for the first painting.
Rough numbers?
Yeah. Rough numbers for the first year, it's going to be $2,950. And that includes the numbers I got, the 20-hour break-in service is $500 at Rex. And Rex Marine in Norwalk does the police and the fireboat fleet already. They're a Suzuki and a Mercury dealer. At the end of season service, so this is going to be annual thereafter, so next winter it's going to be $750, $600 in labor, $150 in parts. If we had the boat wrapped for the winter, as opposed to putting a tarp, $500 for them to shrink wrap. They do that with the other boats, or we can do it with a tarp ourselves.
Okay.
It's to save some money. Painting normally it's only $400 to paint the boat, and we'll probably get multiple years, at least 2 years out of it. But the first year it's $1,400 because they have to add once you set the water line, they have to acid wash it, do a bio blue prep coat, and then put a couple of coats of bottom paint on to establish it. And then,
All right, so the question is, do we now include it as a line item in our budget, or does it get included with another item? And I think George and I will, we can figure that out. But it's splitting hairs in some ways, but it'll be included in our budget.
The town's money, it doesn't matter where it goes.
Right.
The town is,
Yeah, we can discuss it, but I thought our conversation with David Becker had said that, they would cover a lot of the maintenance, so we may want to put a line item in for specifically.
For transparency.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I heard that they will cover, meaning the town is gonna cover as opposed to our fund, the fund we have will cover.
Right, it would be in our budget, but it would be town supplied
Right,
funds.
right.
My only question might be if we have any pushback on the amount, maybe we pay for the bottom, initial bottom painting from the same account we purchased the boat with as being a startup cost.
Well, we can just see, we'll post it, and we'll present it to them and see what they feel about it.
Okay.
But Jeff, are there any changes to moorings that you think we should
No.
to carry over the last budget to this year?
Yes.
We're not increasing fees, we're not getting charged more for the mooring maintenance or any of that, so, okay. So really, we're just carrying forward. We did have some increased costs for Jeff and as well as, I think, Jan, right? That will be included going forward. They're fairly modest changes that we agreed to at the last meeting or the one before, I'm not sure. Other than that, it's really carrying forward our old budget forward to the 2026-27, which I'll be meeting with the first selectman and anyone, else that they want to bring in order to go over the budget, and they'll, then if there's questions, it'll have to go before the RTM. Otherwise, it'll just be incorporated with the rest of the budgets approved by the RTM and move forward. Okay, last time we were quite concerned about invoices relating to HMC being processed or not being processed correctly, and there were long-standing invoices that remained unpaid. We've resolved that now, and right now the invoices come either from wherever they come from, primarily Jeff or Brian, right? That's really it. And then they go to you, Jen, and you see them through the Conservation Commission.
Actually, the invoices go to conservation. They just
Directly.
did that change recently, I think this week. They were going to DPW, but I guess DPW, conservation agreed to take over.
Right.
So now they receive them, you approve them, whatever, by email. I process them and they sign on it, and then they go to finance.
Yeah, I think the best thing for us to do is to continue to funnel to you if they justify the need to have an approval.
Yes.
Then they would go to me or Don or George in order to get an approval, and then they go back to you and you get them to
Conservation and
conservation.
Mm-hmm.
Good, thank you.
I think we have been processing.
Yeah, we have, with me, they sent 3 checks, so I only have my current bill outstanding for last month, so they've caught up for June, July, August, and September.
And Jeff, you were concerned about some invoices that were being sent again and again and again and not being paid.
Yeah.
That's been resolved.
I think so.
Yeah. It has,
Yeah.
yes, finance has been short-handed, so they're a little bit behind, but they just hired someone, so they're catching up.
And Mr. Stedman sent an email that he has to submit some more bills that right? Is that what you were?
Yeah, but the last one was paid,
Oh, good, okay.
End of the fiscal year, I guess. The fiscal year ends June 30th.
June 30th.
June 30th,
So, that's all.
Okay, just. So moving on now, we'll talk about the Tide Mill Gate project, repair project, which so the owner of the property, Deep Race, and all of these parties have been involved in moving this project forward, and we now have received a certificate of permission to review, which I sent to you between meetings, and I heard nothing back from anyone except I think Don had some comments, basically that it looked fine, maybe with some spelling errors or something.
No objection to it. I think there was one typo.
So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, if I were to sum up the document, I mean, the work that they were planning to perform seemed from the standpoint of our responsibility, appropriate and improves the use of the harbor particularly from the perspective of fishing, I guess, allowing the fish to go upstream to spawn. But it's really in the hands of Race, the owner, and DEEP to proceed from here. And conservation is taking on an administrative lead role in this. Our responsibility is to comment on it or to make some kind of response to having received the certificate of permission as it relates to the harbor management plan. To that effect, does anybody have any further comments on it? Sorry, Jeff.
I just have some background for it. It's a certificate of permission application that DEEP has been reviewing. Yeah. And this is because it's a maintenance of an existing structure rather than building a new structure. So it's the duty of the Harbor Commission that the applicant must refer it to the Harbor Commission. The Harbor Commission makes comments to DEEP. This is, let me just show this. This is during the Exide remediation project, and you can see where the structure is here. So back then in 2013, we reviewed certificate of permission application by Exide to repair the tide gates and the dam for the purpose of avoiding adverse impacts of the contamination getting downstream. So we commented on that in 2013, and then interestingly, Exide and DEEP acknowledges that they made probably a mistake in assigning the future maintenance to Exide for the maintenance of it, and Exide is no longer around. So more recently, one of the gates, there's 3 flapper tide gates on this side. One is missing, and the spillway is in disrepair, and there's a dam inspection requirement too by all dam owners, and so that showed that this needed to be repaired. And one of the problems that was identified by upstream property owners was in the absence of one of the tide gates, the upstream water levels were adversely affected. So there was a long discussions with different parties, and as I mentioned, DEEP, to its credit, one of the DEEP officials came down one day and knocked on the door of the Tide Mill Dam and was able to talk with one of the owners who, with my understanding, agreed to pursue the necessary repairs. There was also a discussion about because of the lack of the gate, there was enhanced fish passage upstream, and that was a benefit to DEEP. And then they were trying to discuss how in the repair of this there could be some sort of improvement or enhancement to allow some continued fish passage upstream. So the way the project, and you read it now, is designed is interesting. It calls for a 4 to 6 month work period, and they're restricted to the time of the year that they can work. But there would be substantial work on the upland. It also calls for one of the tide gates to be manually operated so that it's open for a period of the year to allow fish passage. And so that's another something new. And at one point, DEEP had discussed with the town through conservation and engineering whether the town would assume a role in monitoring during that period of the year when the tide gate is to be open, that it is open. Now the town hasn't talked with Mr. Hurley, the town engineer. He's reviewing the application now, and he said he would provide some comments. Also talked with Mr. Bishop at the Conservation Department, and he said he would probably be willing to assume some sort of responsibility to monitor that when the gate is to be open, to see that it is open and if there's any impacts. So our thought was, looking back to the duty of the Harbor Commission, is that you would find this the repair consistent with the harbor management plan and the policies that talk about protecting the coastal environment and achieving timely repair of flood and erosion control structures. But it would be consistent with certain conditions, including that the approval be conditioned with that requiring best management practices as DEEP would require, such as cofferdams or silt curtains, to make sure that during construction there isn't adverse impacts on environmental quality in the harbor, including water quality, and that there would also have to be a proper agreement to ensure that the period of time when the gate is open, that's properly monitored. And then I think we'd also might want to also transmit the engineering comments that we anticipate will be forthcoming from the town engineer, and also give, if there are any comments from upstream property owners, that we would want to make sure that those are properly addressed by.
But who does that? Is conservation, I mean, the town engineer is going to submit through
Or we could make as part of the motion of the Harbor Commission, that we will submit as part of our comments, the comments we expect to be forthcoming from the town engineer. That's what
why would we do that? Well, because the town engineer is going to do that.
Just because it's the duty of the Harbor Commission with respect to its review of DEEP applications, we give additional emphasis to that. My feeling is that the Harbor Commission is responsible for commenting on this with respect to the plan. And
so, I mean, it seems like what we ought to do is comment that, you know, we find that the plan for the application shows that they're taking action which is not adverse to the harbor management plan.
It's consistent with the plan with the following, provided the following conditions are met, which is the best imposition of best management practices during construction, and also a proper agreement for monitoring when the tide gate is open, and also that comments provided. Right now, there's no provision for public comments to this, to DEEP, because it's not a permit, it's a COP. So the opportunity for us to transmit public comments is through whatever we may hear from the property owners.
But it's our responsibility to submit public comment.
Well, we can choose to do that, yes, and I think that would be a vehicle to do it, since we're
because no other entity would do so.
It's not there's no public comment required for DEEP to approve this.
But conservation and the engineering department and, you know, public works are all going to be commenting on this, correct?
Well, they also talked that they were going to provide their comments to us, that we would then have the benefit of those to transmit if we wish.
But I mean, all three of those other organizations within the town are doing the same thing as we are in terms of commenting on this document.
Except that they don't have the harbor management authority that the commission does to respond to the certificate of permission application. The other aspect of this is whether, and I'm assuming it does, a coastal site plan is required by the Town Plan and Zoning Commission to deal with the upland, the upland work. Just like a coastal site plan was required for our project on the lower wharf. Mm-hmm. So the last discussion we had or email from TP&Z was that they were considering the coastal site plan review of this because there's an involvement of the upland, and also pursuant to the DEEP requirements, a flood and erosion control structure approval or maintenance of it specifically requires a coastal site plan review under the state statutes. But that's all. My thought was that this is consistent with the plan.
Who triggers the coastal state review?
Coastal site plan review. That's in the statutes, and that's a requirement.
Do we cause that?
No.
No. I mean, they are expected to do so, and DEEP will expect them to have that performed. Or?
That's a municipal authority, not a state authority.
So where do we fall in the coastal site review?
Only that we would say probably in the letter that we reserve the right to review and continue to review and comment as additional information is provided, including during the coastal site plan review process.
But we would have that anyway, right? Is that right?
Well, yes, that would be part of it, but
All right, well, Jeff, why don't you, since you do such a good job of this, help us to draft up a letter that would come from me stating that we've, and make sure everyone agrees, that we have.
We need a motion to.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. So you would draft up a letter that would say that we are, we find that the application does not conflict with the harbor management plan, or is it consistent
I
with?
would say it's consistent with.
However you want to state that, but, and then with these provisions, and then
And comments.
let's look at that.
And then the only other thing I was mentioning is if there's anyone here would like to speak from the upstream property owners, that they would be given an opportunity to speak at the meeting as well, if there's anyone that has a comment, that would be.
There's one.
Okay,
I would, yes.
go ahead.
I haven't been able to see any of the documents that you guys are referring to, or letters, or all. I have spoken to people a long time ago now at DEP, and I wouldn't say I got a runaround, but we did get some information, but none of it's been updated in months. And we're at a point where there's a whole bunch of us up there that are watching this water level fluctuate. Yesterday, or this morning, and yesterday morning were the two lowest tides we've had since that gate went, and it's been months. And I can tell you also that the bird life is totally different this year than it has been, and that could be some natural cycle, but there's hardly any herons there this year. The osprey are there only part of the time, a short part of the time. The eagle went through this morning at 10 o'clock, for the first time in weeks, or even months now, because of course the ospreys are gone, but the whole biology changed after the dredging in 2012 or whatever that was, 2013, something like that. And the changes in the river life, the vitality, and the bird life that came after that, and the ducks and all that, it was just phenomenal, the difference. And the volume of fish that were in there went to hundreds of thousands from hundreds, and it was just incredible. If you went out in a kayak or walked along the shore, the crab life was much more abundant in each of the years after that, and you could see it was a marked change after that dredging equipment got out of there. And they started dredging beside the wall in back of my house, and I'm on the curb.
Could you give us your name and address? I know you, but.
I'm Tom Correll. I work with the Forestry Committee. I had a meeting here at 9:30 this morning, so I'm back for this.
What's your address?
I'm sorry?
What's your address?
My address?
Yeah.
106 Somerset Avenue. It's the first house, if you're coming down from Umpqua, the Umpqua entrance to the Riverhead, or Riverhurst neighborhood there. A bunch of my neighbors are concerned about this. 3 of them, I think, were here at your last meeting when I was out of town, and wasn't able to deal with it. I know Jeff from riding my bikes with him, but I know Jeff Stedman from the Forestry Committee has been active on it for years, and Brian lives down the street, and Don used to ride bikes with us, and we've become pretty good friends with people. But we're all rational human beings, but we're working in the blind here. We don't have any knowledge or communications about what's going on with this, and further, we thought that the responsibility for this was with a private owner supervised by the DEP, and now I'm hearing it's with the Conservation Department overseeing it in some way. That kind of is fuzzy. Where's the meat in this? Where's the regulations of dams and how this works? When I talked to the DEP people back in months and months and months ago, when this first became an issue, we were told that they were responsible for this and all, and the letter would go out on January 13th or something like that this year that would give them months to correct it. Well, that's ridiculous. I mean, if it's privately owned and there's rules about this stuff, who's enforcing those rules? And it doesn't appear that the Harbor Commission has any teeth to be able to say, you're not doing that right. I don't know how that works. And we should understand that as homeowners upstream.
Yeah, our responsibility is specifically to, oversee the harbor management plan and projects related to Southport Harbor that they are in compliance with and consistent with the harbor management plan. So, I mean, we write that letter stating, as Jeff suggested, who it is that you speak to make sure that your interests are heard. This is a bit of a different, excuse me, Don, but it's a bit of a different project in that it's being taken up by DEEP, and they're not giving the towns the authority over them. They're just doing it.
But DEEP is the regulator, right? The responsibility is the property owner, but they has to comply with DEEP regulations, and that's where we are now. DEEP had asked if the town would have would agree to do some monitoring, since DEEP is not on the site all of the time. And that's, we haven't heard any more about that, other than the Conservation Department. Mr. Bishop said that he would probably be willing to at least look to see if, when the tide gate is supposed to be open, that it's opened and it's closed properly.
But I would raise a question as far as, is that a healthy thing to do for other than those fish? I mean, what about the birds and the people that are living up there and watching their river in the backyard going way down lower than it should be?
I think that there's something we need to make clear. There is a DEP document, certificate of permission, that we have seen that has been given to us as one of the town agencies that looks at these things. We've looked at this. I personally read it. I have no objection to it. I think if you read it, you would be comforted, because I think it addresses a lot of the things I hear you saying. Each of us as commissioners have been given PDFs of this document. I don't know if I have permission to share it with you or anybody. I don't know. It's not it's a DEP document. I think you would be happy reading it, but I don't know if it's mine to share with you.
I was getting conflicting information about that. The people from Ray said, well, I think I can give it to you to share with the commissioners, but I'm not sure it could be made generally publicly available. It's not our document to do so. And then, Tim Bishop from Conservation said, well, I'll handle that communication of it, and I can post it maybe. But I think a definition or a decision as to whether it can or cannot be has not been decided on.
Well, we're taxpayers too.
Yeah.
I would argue that it's public information. It's an application for certificate of permission. It's submitted to the Harbor Commission for review. It's discussed at a public meeting. I don't think there's any question that it's public information that can be, the question is how do you distribute it to the public, but I don't think that there's any question that it's public information. That's my opinion, and I think that...
I actually agree with you, and I think most of the people around the table would agree as well, but there seems to be some difference of opinion, whether it be from Race or the ambiguity in the people from Race's mind suggests that we should not be making a decision on something that, it's in the hands, I think it's kind of owned by the owner of the property, and they have to agree, which I understand from Tim Bishop that they did agree to release it.
I would think that sets a precedent that it's not up to the applicant to say whether the application can be shared.
Well, whether it is that person or not, we don't know, is my point. And so we should.
If Conservation's taking a lead on this, they would be the ones to look into that, I would think.
I think the easy answer is you should just contact the Conservation Department. It's requested pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. And unless there's an exemption, which I can't give legal advice to this commission, there's no exemption. We'll provide you a copy of it.
But Brian, it was submitted to the Harbor Commission, not the Conservation.
I think they do it to the Harbor Management Commission.
Submitted to the Harbor Management Commission. Conservation doesn't have any...
And you can request it of the Harbor Management Commission, and then it'll go to the town attorney.
I'll write this letter to you.
Do we have a portal in Fairfield? Do we have a portal for FOI?
It's under human resources. So you go into the town website, Human Resources, and you're gonna see a link for FOI.
Conservation doesn't
Freedom
have that
of Information,
application?
and you submit that application.
Okay.
And then that goes to me from there, or?
No, that
It'll
goes
handle
to,
it internally.
yeah, it handles to the finance department. There's a person in charge just to FOI, and he will go to the corresponding department or commission to ask for that
Okay.
document.
Yeah, just,
And if it's something that he's in doubt, he will check with legal, making sure it's okay.
and make reference to the fact that we've discussed this with you and encourage you to do exactly that so that you can get the document that you need. I think it would give you comfort.
Yeah, thank you.
And you might want to check with the town attorney just on, not just this, but any application that's being discussed and acted on by the commission, you know, in a public meeting. People should have the opportunity to speak in favor or against it. So that application, any application, in my opinion, should be made available on the town website if the commission is discussing it at a public meeting. I don't think there's any question about that.
Well, I mean, then, would it be also possible, separate from the FOI request that you're talking about, to have a conversation with the town attorney and
Well,
say,
that was my thought, is maybe
this
just a
question
simple
came up.
conversation with the town attorney.
and
Well-
just say, is it okay if we share this document, you know? It's not Pentagon secrets.
No, I mean, all I'm saying is I'm hearing, as Jeff has pointed out, and I think we all agree, the common sense is, here's your document, have a look at it, it's public, it's being contemplated in this way, you should have that access. Others are saying, well, wait a minute, not so fast. So I'm saying to myself, I don't think we have that authority to make that decision, as logical as it may sound to us, and we need to find out, get to the bottom of that. Whether that is to go through a FOIA request to get that done through that route, or for us to speak to the town attorney, either way. And I'm happy to make a call to the town attorney, but I would recommend you file that FOIA application anyway.
Solve it.
We'll go about it both ways, and then we'll see where it goes. Okay? Very good. So just a moment ago, before the meeting at 3:00, a representative from the Port of Hillview, we can talk about when he comes back, but we met at the Yee Yacht Yard to look at the projects being contemplated with the lower wharf, as well as the dredging that has been done, and discussion around the general history and activities in the harbor from the perspective of the Connecticut Port of Authority. And he is, he's an information officer there, right?
Community liaison officer.
Okay.
So his job is to interact be the person who the communities interact with on a daily basis if necessary.
Got it. So he's attending the meeting as well, and when he comes back, I'll introduce him to you. But we just for the minutes, I'm just making sure, I'm just making mention of the fact that we have that meeting there then. Moving on now, that's the end of my.
Do we need a motion to authorize you and Jeff to prepare a letter regarding our belief that the application for the Tide Mill Gate is consistent with the harbor management plan?
Yeah.
And
Is that a motion, or we just do it? I mean, I'm happy to have a motion.
I think you need a motion.
I think you need a motion to authorize the creation of a letter. I would move that you and Jeff collaborate to prepare a letter advising the EEP that the application for the certificate of permission is consistent with the harbor management plan, and we have no objection to it, providing that. Then there are a bunch of caveats that Jeff spoke about earlier.
Subject to the conditions and comments that the commission discussed today.
Yeah, except to those specific caveats,
Okay.
conditions.
The motion should include exactly what those caveats are, though, right?
Well, that's captured in the discussion. You want to?
Can you still allow public comment on the dam, please? Hello?
I'm sorry, could you repeat yourself? We couldn't hear that
Yeah, my
comment
name's
over
Carl
the phone.
Linford. I live on Bronson Road, upstream of the dam.
Okay, so you'd like to
Hello?
make some more further comment on this?
Yes, please, if I may.
Please, go ahead.
Okay, so with the dam, the floodgate being broken, there's more water pouring out of that dam that is coming from upstream.
Excuse me, before you begin, could you state your name and
My
your
name's
address
Carl.
for the minute?
Carl Linford, 634 Bronson Road.
Did you get that, John?
Yes, thanks.
Please go on, Mr. Linford.
Okay, so since the floodgate's been broken, which has been over a year, there's more water pouring out of the dam than is coming down from upstream. That's partially connected, I believe, to the Aquarium Water Diversion Project, and they were supposed to be monitoring the amount of flow coming downstream to make sure that it was not having a negative impact on the wildlife downstream. So that we should understand who is monitoring that floodgate and that flow gauge. I'd like to understand whether the commissioners also looked at other alternatives for allowing the fish to travel upstream, but not continually having the floodgate open. When that floodgate's open and it's low tide, there is more water at high pressure coming through that dam, and I do not believe that the fish would be able to pass through that gate with that water pressure. At low tide, also, the fish are not able to reach the dam because the water level's too low. So during those times, basically you're just allowing the water to pour through that hole as it is today, and we will continue to see those extremely low river levels upstream. There has to be a better alternative, and I'd like to know whether the commission is going to consider such things as floats on the floodgates and other solutions that allow the floodgate to be open as long as there is sufficient water level on the upstream side.
So I wonder if, thank you very much, sir. I wonder if there is a time for comment from the public on the application received by DEEP that would suggest alternative approaches to handling the project in general.
Again, with the certificate of permission, there is no time for public comments. DEEP could approve this tomorrow if they wish to, but they probably won't. But the questions that would get away from the aquarium issue, that's certainly a big one that we were concerned about, some years ago. But in terms of the design of the tide gate and the proper design to ensure, fish passage, but also to protect the environmental quality, we can't design it or review the design, but we can ask that the town engineer take a look at that. And I believe, and that any questions of the part of our motion might be is that the comments from the town engineer regarding the design and the ability to protect water levels should be we should get comments from, and the DEEP should address those comments.
Or do we direct this member of the public to the engineering department?
Yeah, I think I think we hear the comments.
I would gladly have a discussion with them about alternatives.
Right. The thing that needs to be clear is this. There actually is a plan to repair this dam. I have seen it. It is in the document that we as commissioners have been asked to review. That document is called the Certificate of Permission. That plan was developed with a civil engineering firm that's well known in this area. I am not an engineer. The plan looks sensible and attractive, and it touches on many of the issues that I heard Tom raise and that you're raising now. So I want you both to know that, others have looked into this and a plan is in motion. How we share that plan and when or if you're able to comment on it, we don't know the answer to that yet.
You're commenting on it now, Don. And it hasn't been reviewed yet by the town engineer.
So if I may, Ray, the survey report of the dam by Race talked about repairing the dam and perhaps putting a fish ladder in. There was no mention of holding the floodgate open for several months of the year, which would continue to drain the river as it is today to those ultra-low levels, which are unacceptable. We need a better alternative.
So you have seen this document?
No, it sounds like he's seen a previous.
It's available for the public, yes.
But the proposal to keep one of the gates open at a period of time is something that we hadn't heard of before. There was discussion about some sort of an additional engineering aspect of this to allow upstream fish passage, but we didn't know what that was until we saw this document. And so we're not, as you said, we're not capable of evaluating the engineering. But just because an engineer does it doesn't mean it still has to be reviewed. And the authority for doing that in the town now is with the town engineering department. So our recommendation can be that DEEP's decision must also take into consideration the results of the town engineering department's review. And that's what we're recommending.
And I would think that there should be some scientific background that says that fish do this. They behave in these ways. They can swim upstream against a wicked current through that hole in the wall, and get some expert opinions from ichthyologists or whoever fish scientists are. I mean, it would just make sense that you guys shouldn't be expected to know about that stuff.
No.
So I would think DEEP is the people that would.
The fishery department within DEEP.
Right.
Has that knowledge and that responsibility. So if I may recommend, that you both perhaps, and I'm talking to you, Mr. Linford online, to both proceed with the FOIA request. We will also contact the lawyer, the town attorney, to make sure that this document gets in your hands. In our letter to DEEP, we will also include a suggestion that the DEEP contact, has dialogue with the town engineer, and heed their recommendations as well. And then, Mr. Linford might want to speak to the town engineer to make sure the engineer is clear with his recommendations.
DEEP is not going to contact the town engineering department.
Yes, please, I would. Who is the town engineer? What's his name, please?
Bill Hurley.
We're going to make the recommendation that the DEEP.
Bill Hurley?
The recommendation of the town engineer to before they make their final decision.
Okay.
Including the possibility of any alternatives to what's being proposed to keep the tie gate open.
Good.
In that letter that
I believe that there's a better alternative, a better solution that will meet the fisheries requirement for upstream travel of the fish and also maintain the higher water levels upstream of the dam.
Understood. Thank you very much, Mr. Linford.
Proper consideration we want to ensure that proper consideration is given to alternatives to accomplishing the fish passage.
Okay. So we'll work on that letter, and the motion should include those 5 recommendations in the letter.
right.
That best management practices be imposed during construction to ensure no adverse impacts on environmental quality, including water quality in the harbor. That there be appropriate requirements and responsibilities assigned to monitor, the proposed project once it's constructed. That we reserve the right to review the project as we get additional information, including, during the anticipated coastal site plan review process, and that the questions Deep, how do we refer this? That Deep should take no action until getting recommendations and the result of an engineering review by the town engineering department, including and proper consideration be given to alternatives to allowing the fish passage.
Well, we would strongly recommend, we can't tell them they have to take that.
No, that's a recommendation.
Yeah.
You have all that? So I move that Jeff and Chris prepare a letter along the line that mentions the conditions that were just cited by Jeff, and also says that the commission finds the overall plan consistent with the harbor management plan,
Subject to
these conditions.
Good.
Is that
Is
clear?
there a second?
Second.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none, I'll put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Now with Anthony Freyer here with us again, it is a Freyer, right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Jeff, I mentioned that we met with you down at the yacht yard earlier, and Jeff Stedman, was very kind and thoughtful to get this photograph of the Merton dredging vessel that was coming into the harbor at sunrise or sunset.
Sunset.
And he put this together. He thought he would give this to you, and so we want to give this to you and the Port of Authority. And thank you very much for coming to visit us. We hope to see you more.
You definitely will see me more, and this is going right in our main atrium, so thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, with that, we move on to the Harbor Master report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All vessels are out of the harbor as of 2 days ago for the season. High school sailing has concluded, but as you know, frostbite sailing has begun, so it's active place on the weekends again. Regarding online mooring, we had a seminar, an all-day seminar last week with the folks from Online Mooring, reviewing things that are coming with them. They've made a few tweaks to the software. It gets better all the time, I think. We are all set for renewals. Everything is ready to go because, as you know, midnight on January 1st, renewals open up again and everything is teed up correctly. In getting everything ready, I noticed one small glitch. I had 2 boats in the Helix area sitting on the same mooring, which we know is impossible, and we had one empty mooring. So it turns out that a boater in the Helix area relocated himself by going to Online Mooring and just decided he was going to move his mooring by himself, which you're not supposed to do. That requires high-level administrative approval. And if he fuddled them until they figured out that, whoa, we got a problem here. So they corrected that, so now only certain of us can move vessels around, where everyone gets the idea they can just move their boat. And I put it back where he belongs. So you don't get to do that. Nice try. We had a low-tide event, as you know, November 4th. It was a combination of several days of very strong winds, gusting, in the 50s, storm warnings from the northwest, which really emptied out Long Island Sound. You saw some of the pictures I passed around. Because of that, we did relocate several boats with the help of Pequot to get some of the large sailboats on the other side onto the west side of the channel where there were empty moorings, to avoid them going too far over. We're very concerned, and with the low tide kept coming. You saw a few of them, what was happening, and it got a little worse, so we moved the boats out of the way to protect all the vessels. One thing we did notice, John and I noticed, at low tide, there's a lobster trap sitting in the mud off of the launching ramp at Yee Yacht Yard. So I've got the location of it. Can't go out there in the mud, obviously, to get it, but next spring, as soon as I get the boat in, I'll be out there. We'll grapple for it and get it out of the way and see why it's sitting there. It's one of the big metal ones. To everyone's surprise. Next year, one thing just to talk about briefly, as you know, in your regulations, October 15th is when the boats are supposed to be out of the harbor, except if the commission decides otherwise. And for years, we've always done, since before me, November 15th is the date. I'd suggest that we do no later than November 15th again next year as the date to get boats out. you saw what happens when you have a great fall like this year. You know, a lot of us were sailing through Halloween with the boats, and tons of fishermen had been out there late into October, even November, because the weather's been good. The winds were calm enough for that. So, yeah, and it's okay with the yacht club. As long as we get them out by the 15th, we'll be able, maybe the 7th, I'm going to talk. We might want to come a week early, because this is a year when we pull the moorings out from the town moorings, everything from the east side. All of those moorings come out. There'll be Smith, the west wall, all those are going to get pulled out this year for the annual, every 3-year inspection. So we might want to take them out a week before, maybe the 7th or the 8th next year of November.
Instead of stating October 15th, stating November 7th.
Yeah, we may want to go November 7th, I think would probably be a better date.
And that would be posted on the online.
I'll announce it to everyone when I tell them when they have to be out by. I do an email to everyone telling them, you know, when you have to be in by, when you have to be out by, no later than. And I think it gives people the longer season we've become accustomed to with the weather. But again, brings it up so they're not scrambling in the very cold weather trying to get all the moorings out this time of year.
Should we take that up in the, you know, later in the season when maybe more information could be known?
We can do that. We don't have to do it.
Something we need to vote on?
Maybe also the November 8th is a Sunday next year.
The 8th, yes, maybe the 8th, yeah. We should vote on it because the rules say the 15th unless the commission decides otherwise. And I was always told when I began, it's always been November 15th.
Well, why don't we table that?
October 15th or November?
October 15th. It's always been, it's supposed to be October, but it's always been November.
But why don't we table that so that, you know, I mean, we can make decisions now, but new information may come to light between now and then. Let's say we talk about it in you know, whenever you want to bring it up in August, September.
Yeah, a lot's going to be going on in the fall because, you know, we also have, if Pequot gets the permit to redo their docks, they have to pull out all those boats. And they're talking right now September, at the end of the summer, or August or September doing that. That means they have to relocate all the dock vessels as well. So we'll have to accommodate them somehow. And there'll be a lot of pieces moving, I think, so they can get that work done.
So we'll just,
kind of play it. We'll just
keep it
on your radar. Yeah,
good.
Yeah, that's all. Everything else is fine.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Harbor Master?
The new boat here yet?
Not here yet.
Not here.
Not here yet. It's almost done. But it's okay. That's good. We'll launch it first thing in the spring. I mean, they sent me pictures. I could see the hull. I could see the thing, the T-top partially made, the engine's in the box. They showed me the engine. They showed me the controls. So it's just sitting up in the factory in New Hampshire getting finished up. So.
Does it have a name or a number?
Neither.
Okay.
My son is funny though.
That's the name of the boat, neither.
My wife asked me that same question. She goes, "What are you going to name the boat?" And my son, my 26-year-old, he goes, "You can't name a boat like that. We have to, just in case something tragic happens to Dad, they can name it after him." I said, "Thank you." So it won't be named or numbered.
That doesn't sound right.
You can't have kids, yeah.
Okay, anything else? Any other questions?
He said, "Heck, I've got a boat named after him."
All right, we'll move on to the nominating committee, Mr. Mepchik.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So a few things to report from the nominating committee for this meeting, which I think may also turn into a motion, but I'll provide some background here from Jeff. Are you okay if I just speak for both of us? For Commissioner Warren and myself. We basically have 4 spots that we'll be looking to fill. It's a few puzzle pieces because we have 3 commissioners who will be vacating at the end of their terms, but it'll turn into 4 spots that we're looking to fill because one of the alternate commissioners will move into a full commissioner role, so there will be an alternate spot that's available. So we'll be seeking to fill 2 full commissioner roles and 2 alternate commissioner roles based on terms that are ending. We had a very strong candidate pool this year, which is terrific. Ultimately, there were 6 candidates that came through with excellent criteria for consideration that have been shared. And so I would like to thank all the commissioners because I think, and the town, the outreach in this case was very good in terms of posting for vacancies and doing community outreach of the availability. Also, I'd like to put a special thank you out to the Harbor Master and also to Jeff Stedman, because in speaking with the candidates, there was a pretty well-rounded approach of not just communicating things are available, but giving information on what it's like. And so really thank you, everybody. Good job this year. Jeff and I, in reviewing this, have been trying to create or look for some sense of balance in the inbound candidate pools, balance of political interest, balances of use of the harbor, balances of things like community sailing, or fishermen or mooring holders or people who use the parks or Pequot members, across the board. And then, of course, also looking for relevant professional experience that would help aid the commission, like, engineering or wetlands or other type of things. So we are going to make a recommendation for 4 commissioners to join. 2 other points of business, so before getting into that detail. In a conversation that I had this week with Jennifer Carpenter, the Board of Selectmen is looking to have a special meeting sometime between December 1st and December 10th to put all appointments and reappointments that need RTM approval on its agenda. So they would like to see the HMC's recommendation in advance of that. So given where we are in the month and that this next meeting would happen.
What was that date?
Sometime between December 1st and December 10th. There are a few dates that they were looking into, but I don't have the dates here and now. I think it would be appropriate, based on discussion here, if we get to that, to maybe make a motion to make a recommendation to the town on those commissioners here at this meeting.
Because that would be before our next meeting.
Because it would be before our next meeting. The other thing that I would say, as far as officer slate go, in what's coming, there will be no recommendations as it relates to the officer slate, because I think we'll want to have the members of the commission completed first and know who it is, and then at the next meeting probably bring some recommendations for officer slate. So with all that information, and thank you, that was sort of a lot of background. One of the commissioner spots that needs to be backfilled will be Commissioner Hyman will be leaving the commission at the end of his term, and we're making a recommendation that alternate Commissioner Michael Paisley fill that position and become a full commissioner. So that's one of the 4, and that's why there's a spot being created at the alternate commissioner level. Second would be a candidate, Michael Nishbal, I hope I'm pronouncing the last name correctly, to replace a spot being vacated by William Perugini, who's a fill commissioner. For background for the commissioner, Michael has been present here at several meetings. For those of you who would recognize him, certainly has demonstrated strong interest, has spoken with Brian, has spoken with Jeff, has a mooring here in the harbor, would be a very good addition to the commissioner, to the commission, which is why we're suggesting that he be one of the ones to fill the full commissioner spot. Then we'll be looking to backfill Michael Paisley's spot as an alternate. There's an applicant named Michael Evans. All the applicants seem to be named Michael this year, by the way. There's more coming. So we're going to need to have Mike and Michael and Mikey. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But so to backfill Michael Paisley's alternate spot, we're making a recommendation that candidate Michael Evans be put in. Michael is a participant in the community sailing program here in town. Came through, I think Don Hyman may be through that stream in terms of advocacy. He also is an engineer with very relevant background in his experience for the types of projects, waterfront type projects that we look at, we think would be a good contributor to the commission. And then the 4th and last would be replacing alternate Belinda Shepard's spot, who will not be continuing after her term ends, with a candidate, Michael Veer. Michael is a Pequot sailor, a local angler. He's got a small powerboat. If anybody knows Michael, he's in the harbor daily, probably almost as frequently as the harbor master is, and a very good advocate for the commission. So to summarize, the 4 candidates would be Michael Paisley as a full commissioner, Michael Nishbal as a full commissioner, Michael Evans as an alternate commissioner, and Mike Veer as an alternate commissioner. And then there are 2 additional candidates, because we have more candidates than we have commissioners, Thomas Cawley and Nirav Gupta, who are both excellent candidates that we'd suggest keeping very close to the commission for, in case there's a candidacy interim or for future roles, because we really had a strong group this year. Any questions in terms of discussion? I know that was a lot of information.
No. You'll need a motion so you can bring those names to the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, so with that, if there's no discussion either from the public or the commissioners, the nominating committee, or on behalf of the nominating committee, I'd make the motion that the Harbor Management Commission recommend to the Selectmen's Office the four commissioners, Michael Baisley, Michael Nishbal as full commissioners, Michael Evans, Michael Beer as alternate commissioners.
Is there a second to that?
I would second that.
Any further discussion on the nominating committee slate? Hearing none, I ask for a vote. All those in favor of the slate as moved, say aye. All those opposed? Thank you very much, unanimously. Thank you for your hard work. That was a lot of work to get that done and a thorough job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on now to the website review, Mr. Hyman.
Sure.
I'm going to be on the phone if you need me.
Okay.
Okay.
Sylvie.
The minutes of the meeting from last month reviewed what we have already done to kind of refresh the website. The goal here is to try to make the website a better tool for explaining what we do on the commission, and in doing that, enhance recruitment of new commissioners. And perhaps our website was part of the mix of things that some of those people looked at, I don't know. But we tried to do a few things and all that's specified in the minutes from last month. This month, David Kelly, our Director of IT, and myself focused on one area, the photo gallery, which you may not even know exists on our website. But there is a photo gallery, and I think there were some placeholder pictures in there. They're all on a very wonderful day when it was actually Jeff Stedman Day. And we saluted Jeff, all the pictures that were there. We have moved those pictures into a new area of the website called South Port Harbor Heroes, Jeff being one of them, as well as others such as Pat Carroll and other people who have been commemorated in different documents and photographs. All that's there. So that's kind of looking at people who've really made a difference in the harbor. Right now, the photo gallery has 17 photos that are a collage of different images with deep captions or captions explaining each one. If you look at it on your phone, it doesn't work very well. If you look at it on your laptop or an iPad, it works better. But I would encourage you to go look at it, and you'll see there's kind of three broad areas. One tries to capture some of the dredging aspects. Another looks at Lower Wharf, kind of the damage to Lower Wharf and what's going on there. And then the other area is just the overall beauty from very different angles and perspectives of Southport Harbor. There's a range of different photos, including one by Jeff, which is credited to Jeff, which is a very fine picture. The bulk of the other pictures are from myself, and I don't need a credit. But David Kelly was very happy to help with captions and so forth. I think this can be updated and refreshed as we go along. There'll be an opportunity to tell the story of the rebuilding of Lower Wharf and the new Lower Wharf when that comes about. There might be an opportunity to do something with the dam as well, and to show that story with captions that kind of tell the story of what we're doing. I'm not sure. I will not be on the commission when both those things are finalized, but I throw them out as ideas to think about, to use our website section as a storytelling tool. The other things I would quickly suggest going forward is kind of three. There's another section of the website that has files. And right now there's a section called Town of Fairfield POCD. In that is the coastal vision for the POCD exhibit, which we submitted a year ago. And there are the maps of the shoreline and the harbor management area. I think the coastline vision is a wonderful document, actually. And it is also appearing on our website in the section called Southport Harbor Management Plan, so it's kind of supports that in a nice way. I think it can stay there. I think I would say it's duplicative to have it where we have the POCD. I think the better thing to do would be to link to the current version of the final version of the POCD and have that perhaps if you want to have anything at all rather than anything else. I think the other thing is that eventually I think we need to correct Exhibit B maps so that we are consistent with the direction we got regarding yacht yard and using the town-approved correct nomenclature for that facility. So the map in Exhibit B would need to be modified, Jeff, to reflect that change. Those are the only changes that I would throw out on the table now, and whoever is involved with the commission going forward, or all of you can come up with other ideas.
Very good, thank you. Any questions for Don on the website? Moving on now to Harbor Management Legislation Initiative. Anything further to report on that?
No, we're working on a meeting with DEP to discuss the need for the changes that you talked about. We had the one committee meeting, Kim participated. We're planning to have another committee meeting within the next week or so, and then go ahead with a meeting with DEEP, and DEEP wanted to have some, I don't know how many that means, legislators present when we discuss it with them.
Okay.
So that's a work in progress.
Thank you.
The most important work in progress.
The Lower Wharf rebuild, any questions on that, pardon me? The Lower Wharf rebuild update. Don, I think you had something to update us.
I had a conversation with Bill Hurley on the way over here, and basically that effort is about a month behind. There were competing events that prevented the bids from going out from the purchasing department, and they have not gone out yet. So contractors have not been finalized for the project. So there won't be any construction work going on or rebuilding work going on for Lower Wharf until after the first of the year, most likely. We left it that we would check in with Bill, every few weeks to see when we can put some specificity into the letter that's been drafted that would go to Harbor Road neighbors saying, we anticipate the start of construction approximately blank. Right now we can't fill in that blank, but we will be able to, I hope, by mid, before Christmas, something like that. Then you can send that out at that time.
Right.
And that letter will inform other town communication that I think Lisa Claire is planning.
Right.
So it will be a consistent message on what we're doing at Lower Wharf, why, how long it'll take, the happy story of getting bond money from Hartford to finance it, and why we're doing this. And also, I think to make clear that unfortunately, but kind of obviously, Lower Wharf will have to be closed for some period of time while the work is going on for safety reasons. But they're hopeful that they'll be able to start in early January sometime. But it's fluid. It's not that timing is not certain.
Thank you, Don. Jeff, do you have anything to add to that?
No, not with respect to the
Okay.
Lower Wharf.
Then we'll stand by. We'll get more information. The mooring committee, Mr. Warren.
I have no report, and anything that I would have said has been said by our harbor master in his reports.
Okay, great. Harbor management plan update, Ms. Taylor. Nothing further to add.
I have nothing to report. We're waiting for Jeff is working on redlining the new chapter 8, and I hope that we'll be able to take a look at that in December.
Very good. Under new business, Don and I received a communication from Emmeline Harrigan from the TPZ about prospective changes to zoning regulations which is a 137-page document, and she had 6 specific changes that she wanted us to consider. She gave us a synopsis of those, which I've included as an attachment to the email, which go to, and she also gave us a statement showing each segment within the 137-page set of regulations, each section where each one of these 6 areas makes a change, where you can see that change. And from a wave top level, from a high level looking at this, it seems to me that all of these prospective changes improve the harbor and it's the use by the town of the harbor, the protection of the harbor for fishing and for general use. So I think it is all consistent of the harbor management plan. We're being given this to comment if we want to or not. I would suggest that we do comment where we say that, we are supportive of these changes as they are consistent with the harbor management plan.
I just asked a question about the process to follow with this, because there's a statutory and town code process that before a public hearing or a decision is made to adopt these changes, whether it's the zoning regulations or any plan change, then the proposal that would be adopted has to be submitted to the Harbor Commission 30 days before the hearing. Do we know what the schedule is, or whether this is the final proposal that's going to go to QPZ for adoption? But if it's a preliminary, submittal for the Harbor Commission's comments, then certainly...
She hasn't given us any information about where they are in their process, except to say they have now started the process of reviewing potential zoning regulations.
They started the process, but so this wouldn't be a formal, pursuant to the required process. This is sort of an informational referral, not the formal referral that's required once they have the final thing.
Right. So we should not say anything, you're suggesting, or what I said was that we thank you for the opportunity to review, and that
make clear that these are preliminary comments, and look forward to once they're finalized for adoption, for our final comments, something like that.
Okay.
But make clear that this isn't the only. These are preliminary. The formal comments from the Harbor Commission have to come once they have the document for adoption. We don't want to eliminate that process, or that they have to do that process.
But she did send us the existing regulations, all edited, carved out, cut up, and highlighted on what the changes were that the staff had proposed.
Right.
But what phase of their process to adopt those, we don't know.
We don't know if that's the final. It's going to be submitted to QPZ for adoption. It's the staff recommendation. So at some point, when they advertise that they're going to have a public hearing for adoption, then there's a final document for adoption. We don't know that this is the final document for adoption. It's a proposal.
So I think we could simply say that thank you for your preliminary disclosures, and we have no objection to it.
At this point, so we reserve the right to review the final proposal prior to adoption.
Right.
Okay. So I would recommend, I would propose, and I think this is another vote opportunity, I would propose that I draft a letter, and George and I, and Don perhaps, because I'm sure you could help out with that, could draft up a letter stating that we thank you for the review of the proposed or the potential changes to your zoning regulation, and that we find that they are consistent with the harbor management plan as stated. We will reserve our final review when you have public comment and other.
Would you reserve a statement of consistency with the plan and to say we have no objection at this time to these moving forward? Because you haven't seen the final.
Yep. That's my motion. Would anybody like to second that?
I second it.
Further discussion?
What is a tidal resource? I mean, I know what the tide lines are, but
It could be an
it's a
intertidal.
tidal resource. It sounds like a
marsh. A tidal wetland would be a tidal resource. Same with an intertidal flat.
That's a significant change, if there's no regulation currently. I mean, there's all kinds of structures that are already built within that 25-foot setback, that those would be grandfathered in. Is that how that?
Yeah, it's right. That's a good point.
That's why I think no objection to it moving forward.
Yeah.
While reserving the right to review the final.
In Beach District, is Southport Harbor included in what's considered a beach district?
I don't believe so. I believe it's the Fairfield Beach area to the east of the harbor is the Beach District. East of Kenzie's Point.
Just questions.
Yeah.
Are you voting?
Well, still in discussion.
Oh.
Any further questions or discussion?
Are these comments that we're seeing tied to the September 6, 2025 public document that they put forward?
The POCD?
Yeah.
These are the POCD is the kind of guiding thinking for future zoning changes, and these are among the early zoning changes that they want to come forward to go forward.
Yeah, I'm simply asking because I'm looking at the September 6, 2025 document online, and paragraph 3.4 doesn't seem to be consistent with this. I'm wondering if the POCD may have already changed,
So
or this is newer.
Maybe this is, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I understand it, this PDF attachment that Don sent comes from the full set of regulations. Those are the rules and regulations that they must abide by.
The zoning regulations.
Correct. And the zoning regulations. And the POCD is the document which guides those decisions directionally. So the two different documents providing two different things.
So also interesting, I understand that the town attorney has determined that the POCD wasn't adopted correctly. So they're gonna have to go back to do that because it wasn't endorsed by the Board of Selectmen. So absent an endorsement by the Board of Selectmen, the TPZ needs not just a majority, but the supermajority of five votes. So they have to do that vote over again. And if the Board of Selectmen should act in the meantime to endorse it, then they would just need the simple majority. But if the Board of Selectmen doesn't act, then they'll need the five votes. And when it was supposedly or understandably, we thought adopted recently, it was adopted with 4 votes, not 5. So that has to be reconsidered.
The POCD. But the revision to the existing zoning regulations that's what we're here looking at. And we're making a preliminary response to this initial opportunity review, not giving up our rights to future.
But it would, well, I'm sorry to be talking, but thinking about how it's done in other towns, just would have no objection to it moving forward to the final proposal. I mean, we reserve our right to review it at that time.
Have you looked at that?
No, this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's the full document that she sent us.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I thought I was on the same document online on the town website.
That document
It's missing F and G.
is not annotated. This is annotated to reflect the changes that they want to do.
Yeah.
It's all highlighted in yellow.
That's what I'm saying. It's what I'm looking at stops at E
Right,
in a public document. That's why I was more.
because that's the revisions. These are the. So we have a motion, and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much. Moving on now to new applications. I believe we have none. Is there any further public comment tonight?
Counts as public, but again, with respect to the Port Authority and its involvement and support for the towns and for the town projects, it's my understanding now that the Port Authority is hopeful that the Bond Commission, at its December meeting, will allocate the total amount of funds available for the SHIP grants. And then after the first of the year, then there would be an advertisement of the next round of SHIP grant applications. So if you have some ideas to think about, you can do that between now and when the next round of applications is announced. And I think I've said that correctly, Anthony, is that?
We are hopeful, nothing concrete, but if there are any ideas, any concepts that you'd like to see, please start thinking about them so that when we do open that timeline and that portal, you guys are ready to stand.
We really appreciate you taking the time to come down and visit all of the harbors that you have responsibility for now, including Southport. Wish you luck driving back on the thruway, but you don't have far to go.
Take it slow. Okay, any other further public comments, new business, nothing? Hearing none, the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much.